everybody, and welcome to this AI deep dive. We're calling this one AI debate.
AI debate.
AI debate, because frankly, that's exactly what's going on right now with AI.
Yeah, AI is everywhere now. I feel like I can't even escape it.
Right. And we're going to go beyond all the hype and look at what's really going on with this technology.
Definitely.
We'll be diving into the ethical stuff,
The ethical dilemmas.
the privacy concerns,
Yeah.
the things that make you wonder.
Just that keeps you up at night.
Exactly. Like, is AI really going to take over the world?
Well, maybe not take over the world.
Okay, maybe not like in the movies. But seriously, this tech is making decisions that could impact millions of lives.
Millions. Maybe even billions.
Think about it. AI is already in healthcare, in the justice system, even in our schools. Have you ever stopped to think how AI might be affecting your life already?
I think a lot of people just don't realize how much AI is already out there.
And that's what we're here to talk about. So first up, let's jump into these ethical challenges with AI. One of the biggest things we keep hearing about is bias in algorithms.
Yeah, and this is a huge problem because these algorithms are often trained on data that reflects existing biases in our society.
Right, so it's like if you feed an AI bad data, it's going to spit out biased results.
Exactly. And that can have real-world consequences, especially when you think about things like facial recognition technology.
It's funny you should mention that. One of the things I was reading about was how facial recognition systems have a much higher rate of misidentifying people of color.
That's right, and it's incredibly concerning. I mean, imagine being wrongly accused or even arrested because an algorithm made a mistake based on your race.
That's just not right. It makes you think. How can we ensure that these systems are fair and accurate for everyone?
Well, it starts with acknowledging that bias exists. We need to be much more careful about the data we use to train these algorithms, and we need to constantly audit them to make sure they're not perpetuating harmful stereotypes.
This whole conversation about bias reminds me of another ethical dilemma with AI, and that's the whole ChatGPT crisis in education.
Ah, yes, the ChatGPT crisis.
I mean, these AI tools can be pretty amazing. They can help students with research, writing, even problem solving,
They can personalize the learning experience.
but they can also make cheating really, really easy.
That's the problem, isn't it? We've seen a surge in plagiarism and a decline in critical thinking skills because students are relying too heavily on these tools.
It makes you wonder, what does this mean for the future of learning? Are we doing more harm than good by giving students access to this technology?
It's a tough question and there's no easy answer, but I think the key here is balance.
Balance.
Yeah. We need to find a way to use these tools to enhance learning without undermining the core values of education.
Makes sense. So how do we strike that balance?
Well, I think it starts with education. We need to teach students how to use these tools responsibly and ethically.
So it's not about banning them outright, but teaching students how to use them wisely.
Right. AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. It all depends on how we wield it.
That's a great point. It's not about being afraid of AI. It's about understanding its power and using it responsibly.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about bias in education, but let's move on to another big concern with AI.
I know where you're going with this.
Privacy. I mean, let's be honest. These AI systems are collecting tons of data about us. Our online activity, our location, even our faces.
And that raises some serious questions about surveillance and consent.
Right, like how much of our privacy are we willing to sacrifice for the convenience of AI?
And who gets to decide how that data is used? These are questions we need to be asking ourselves right now.
It's kind of creepy when you think about it, right? Like, imagine being constantly monitored by AI systems.
It's not just imagining anymore. It's already happening in some places.
Seriously.
Yeah. There are schools that are using AI-powered surveillance systems to track students' movements and behavior.
That's a little unsettling. I mean, what happened to the good old days of just, being a kid without being constantly watched?
Right. It's a slippery slope, and we need to be careful about how we use this technology because it can easily be used to target and discriminate against certain groups.
That's true. And it's not just about surveillance. There's also the issue of deepfakes.
Deepfakes.
These are AI-generated videos or audio recordings that can make it look like someone is saying or doing something they never actually did.
It's incredibly deceptive, and it's being used to spread misinformation and manipulate people.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty convincing deepfakes online, and it's scary how realistic they can be.
Absolutely. And this technology is only going to get more sophisticated. So it's more important than ever to be critical of what we see and hear online.
So how do we protect ourselves from deepfakes and other forms of AI-powered manipulation?
Well, it's a multifaceted problem. We need better detection tools, but we also need to educate people about how to spot these fakes.
Media literacy is more important than ever.
Exactly. And we need to hold social media platforms accountable for the spread of misinformation on their platforms.
That's a big one. So we've talked about ethics, privacy. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
The societal implications of AI.
Exactly. One stat that really blew my mind is that experts predict 40% of jobs could be automated by 2050.
40%! That's a huge number.
It is, right. I mean, think about all the truck drivers, factory workers, even office jobs that could be replaced by AI.
It's a major shift in the workforce, and it's going to require us to rethink how we educate and train people for the jobs of the future.
So what does this mean for the average person? Are we all going to be out of work?
Not necessarily, but we need to adapt. We need to focus on developing skills that AI can't easily replicate. Things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving.
Those are all important skills for humans to have.
Exactly. We also need to think about things like universal basic income or other safety nets to support people who are displaced by automation.
It's not just about jobs either. AI is changing the way we interact with the world, the way we consume information, even the way we vote.
That's right. Think about the role of AI in elections. We're seeing deepfakes being used to influence voters, and AI-powered algorithms are shaping the information we see online.
So how can we ensure that AI is used to promote democracy and not undermine it?
That's the million-dollar question, and one that we need to be grappling with right now.
We've covered a lot of ground today. From bias in algorithms to privacy concerns to the future of work, it seems like AI is touching every aspect of our lives.
And it's only going to become more pervasive in the years to come.
So what's the takeaway here? What do we want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is that we need to be having these conversations. We need to be asking tough questions about the role of AI in our society.
We can't just blindly accept this technology without thinking critically about its implications.
Exactly. And we need to demand transparency and accountability from the companies and governments that are developing and deploying these systems.
We need to make sure that AI is used for good, not for harm.
And that it benefits everyone, not just a select few.
So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all this, that's okay. It's a lot to process.
It is.
But that's why we created AI for the people, to break down these complex issues and help you navigate this brave new world of AI.
We want to empower you to understand this technology and to have a voice in shaping its future.
So if you're interested in learning more about AI and its impact on our lives, be sure to subscribe to AI for the People wherever you get your podcasts.
We've got interviews with experts, stories from people on the front lines, and in-depth discussions about all the ethical, social, and political implications of this rapidly evolving technology.
And we want to hear from you too. What are your thoughts on AI? What questions do you have? Join the conversation on social media and let's figure this out together.
Because ultimately, the future of AI is up to us. Let's make it a future we can all be proud of.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged. Yeah, and stay human. That's a good one.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.